Welcome to the Dragon Cast, everybody. This is episode 4. We're in October at the end. Halloween has either passed or is about to come, or I don't know when this is going up, but it's Halloween season. I'm GeOm. I'm here with...
I don't know what order we're going in, but I'm Jay because I'm next on the Discord for me. So
that works.
Hey everybody, I'm Jay. You know me, commentator, all that stuff.
So I guess it's my turn now. I'm Lloyd. I hang around and I watch DBZ League.
And I'm Tosh. I'm coach of Rugrats and staff, of course. So
Yeah. So we're all staff here. This is the staff cast. We're gonna give you guys some updates and answer some of your questions and give you some thoughts on the league because it's. Man, what do we have, like 3 weeks left?
Something like that, because, postseason is happening right around Christmas time, which is weird.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a funky season, to be sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. How you guys feel about the season so far? Broken any expectations? Met any?
A lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Going into the beginning, I was a little worried about the balance of some of the teams because some of the teams looked like incredible on paper and others looked a little weaker. But obviously, excluding the outlier of Derp, unfortunately, I think every other team has been super competitive and still in playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
On top of
that, I think that was my one thing, like how Jay was talking about, where everything is too close for comfort. No one is safe at this point.
It's perfect. That's what we need. We need tension right up until the last week.
But also on top of that, I think it's nice to see all the changes. The changes I feel have been very refreshing and just really interesting to watch.
Yeah, it has gotten a lot of positive reception, which has been a joy and a huge release. Oh boy, it is not easy to make a change, to make so many changes to so many teams and go, yeah, I'm confident in this. Yeah, it's totally gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, we did get a lot of feedback from you guys to help us along with that.
Oh, absolutely. There's no way we would have done any of this all by ourselves. So that's part of the reason why it works so well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, like even, of course, Derp being the exception here and part of that, I'm sure they're going to bounce back next season. With the other weakest team being Sentai Squad, they have had so many close calls. They could easily have 2 or 3 more wins right now.
Yeah, they're still in contention for playoffs right now too. So,
Anybody else got any thoughts on the season?
Definitely just what a season so far, and a lot of really fun moments so far. Like every time I watch the week, I can expect at least 3 crazy things to happen. And when I mean crazy, I don't mean like a team wins that isn't supposed to win. I mean like the AI doing something just ridiculous. And obviously that's not something that we control, but it is super exciting to see, and that's good because we don't want a boring season.
Yeah, that's why this format's so fun, man. You never know what that stupid AI is going to do. But yeah. Actually, if anybody, any of the viewers have any suggestions or any thoughts on what they really enjoyed or really found fun watching throughout the season or don't find fun, we'd appreciate it if you guys commented down below or came to our Discord and told us, because we want to make this league more fun every season that comes, and we can't really know what's entertaining for you guys unless you tell us.
Is this the same Discord where you can also help out and join teams and also help out with stats, etc.?
Why, yes, it is, Lloyd. How did you know?
No, that's the other Discord.
Yeah. That was a completely different one. We don't have control over that. I don't know how this works at all, to be honest. No, but yeah, the Discord will be in our description. There'll be a link to it there. Please join because that is how you get the most up-to-date information. If you can't join, we are obviously always putting out the Dragon Cast, and this is the next best way to get information, and we will try to be open about everything in these Dragon Casts with you. So ask your questions in the YouTube comments if you got them and you're not on the Discord. Otherwise, join us down there and participate and have fun because everyone's super passionate about the league in here.
Mhm.
But yeah, how about we get into some updates for people then?
Yeah,
All
sounds
right.
good.
All right, the first things first, the Gauntlet. We've discussed this as of late, and there's going to be minor changes occurring from last season. So the main one is our round 2 opponents for all the Gauntlet teams is going to be different. We're not going to tell you exactly what it is yet because we're in the middle of testing it, and we want to make sure we're confident in that team. But we have a fun idea planned for round 2. Once we are confident in moving along with it, we'll announce it in the Discord, and we'll try to announce it in the next Dragon Cast as well for everybody here on YouTube.
Mhm.
The other thing is we've made a slight adjustment to round 3. We're removing one of the characters, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong here.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
From my knowledge, that's what we decided upon.
Yeah, we're going to be removing one of the characters and replacing it with another character that fits the same. What was the team? OP? Team
Yeah.
OP? Yeah.
It was, the overpowered. Yep.
Yep, the overpowered. So look out for that. That'll be in the same announcement when we reveal round 2. And obviously round 4 will be different because we want to keep that a secret. And you guys already know what last season's round 4 was. So look out for all of those. We've got a slight announcement for right after the main season ends. So currently on our schedule, we actually have a break planned after week 15 and right before the playoffs start. Instead of just doing a regular break where there's nothing there and you guys get no content, we're going to give you some content. You guys are familiar with the MVP tournament, so we're going to do the reverse. We're going to do the least valuable player tournament, and it's going to function in a kind of funky way that we hope you'll enjoy. Every team will be submitting builds for their worst character, and they'll be submitting full 7-point builds. They are required to be full 7-point builds because...
And worst character damage-wise, right?
Yes. It'll be based off average damage as the MVP is based off the same. Because the worst character on every team has to lose to progress in this tournament. You can't be the worst if you're winning. So good luck to all the teams to try and make your worst character even worse. We can't wait to see what sort of build you come up with.
I'm so excited to just see the ridiculous stuff that happens.
I know.
Yeah.
I want to see Pataras that have never been used before. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. I also, everybody always argues about who the worst character is, and they're like, bro, my character is way worse. This will give you definitive proof that your character is the worst.
Make the argument.
And no one can prove you wrong.
Yeah.
No one can say otherwise.
Is this a badge of honor or shame? I'm not... either way, bragging rights, I guess. After that, we want to address sort of our plan for the off season. Now, obviously, this is subject to change, but we do have a lot of stuff we've discussed and have been brought to our attention that we already planned to talk about and work through and see if anything is possible to be done with it in the off season, and even if we should do it in the off season. So this is sort of our write-up. We'll be posting it on our Discord as well for all you guys to look at. But a quick overview, we're going to try and resolve some team-specific questions first. Mainly coming with GT, Boojins, and Androids. GT has a lot of restricted forms, and that causes some funky things with most of their characters requiring a Broly's ring limiter. We're going to discuss that, see what we can do to make any changes, if we should make any changes, which will probably be the first question we ask each other. Outside of that, with the Boojins, we're going to look at Super Boo because he's not transforming, and we're not putting a limiter on him, and neither are the Boojins. So we're going to see if we can fix that. That might require modding. That might require something else. We don't know. if it is fixable, but we're going to try. And we're also going to look at androids in the water map. That's been something that's been brought to our attention plenty of times. We're not sure if it's an issue yet, but we're going to discuss it, and then we're going to test it, and we're going to see, because people have talked about it. Of course, there are also a lot of rules in the league that we feel needs to be taken a look at again, or revisited, or tweaked, or even added. So there's the old Super Saiyan rules, there's Master Blast rules, there's potentially Master Throw restrictions. All that stuff is on our list to be looked at and discussed, along with potentially more stuff that comes up. But for now, that's a glimpse into some of the stuff we're looking at. And moving on from that, we're going to also look at Master Lists. We have a bunch of new teams this season, and a bunch of new Master Lists to accompany them. Some of those Master Lists aren't super dead set yet, and we want to make sure we're giving fair treatment to them. So we're going to reevaluate them. There's been plenty of teams that have had suggestions for them. Some of them we're actually pretty sure we're going to make a change on already, because we actually did miss a few things when we first created these master lists, and we made a few adjustments, but we'll probably make a few more coming up, is my assumption here. So teams like the Androids, Royals, Hybrids, Derp, GT, Cinema, and Resurrected Warriors have already gotten plenty of suggestions from people in the Discord. So we'll be looking at those suggestions in more depth in the offseason. But yeah, all this stuff is off-season things. I want to talk to you guys about the Sweeper Games and the All-Star match. We thought it was pretty successful. The Discord gave us positive feedback. The YouTube comments and the stream seemed pretty fun, though the Sweeper Games in specific was a bit long. And altogether, the stream was a bit tough to digest in total. So we're going to look into improving the format of it and seeing if there's any additions we want to make, any sort of reduction in the stream length, maybe split up the stream. Chances are there'll be a change next season. So that's up on our board to talk about. And alongside it, we have an intro to the league video, which we're looking to make, hopefully. We're going to work on it. We want to have a proper hello and welcome for anybody who stumbles across our little league here. So alongside that, and we're going to make some changes to our website, improve them. If any of you guys have any feedback on the website, we don't get a lot of feedback on it, honestly. It's very informational right now. We're going to try and improve it. We're going to add more to it, hopefully. We have some plans to make it a more useful site, hopefully with the implementation of potentially the stats spreadsheet. That's not something we've looked into too much yet, but hopefully we can do it. And lastly, we have mods. So just to quickly address this in general first, there are no specific mods we have determined need to happen. Mods are something we haven't touched much at all yet. We've
and
done
for some of them good reason, depending. So.
Yeah, mods are still, for the most part, they're
foreign
new territory. Yeah, they're foreign territory. They're completely new to us. We have some people in our Discord that have offered to lend their hand at helping us with it, and honestly, that's making things a lot easier already in just discussion. But in terms of actually getting mods up and going, there's going to have to be, before we ever start doing mods, we're going to have to set up general rules and parameters for what mods should go through, how should they be done, and to make sure we're not doing anything that could break the league in any sort of way. So there's going to have to be an entire discussion about that first, but hopefully we'll have some mods for you next season. Maybe nothing crazy, but hopefully some fun stuff. Costumes have been suggested. Map mods have been suggested. Obviously, new characters are the big thing everyone wants, but that's also probably one of the biggest mods to make and that would have the most consequences. So we'll see how things go. But yeah, that is all the stuff we have on our plate to discuss, all the big ones at least. I'm sure more will pop up. You guys are free to always suggest more to us. We have a suggestion survey where you guys can go put it in, and it's tracked in our Google Sheets, and we have it permanently there to look at. We view those every month too. So
in our monthly meetings, we always try to make sure we're up to date on what you guys want to do.
Yeah. So hop on the Discord, and if you got suggestions, put it there. If you can't get on the Discord for any reason, feel free to put it in the YouTube comment section as well. We look through these every time. All right, that's the big thing I talked on for like, I don't know how many minutes. Do you guys have anything you want to add? Feel like I missed here?
I think it's pretty succinct.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we hit everything.
All right. One last small thing before we get into you guys' questions, the thing you all want and are here for. We are planning to open up our Twitter account after the main season ends. So going through the playoffs, we should be having our Twitter account up and active. Look around for that. We're going to post it. We're going to promote it. Make sure to follow it when you join. The more attention we can get to it, the more the league can spread, the more people we can get to join on, and the bigger we can expand and the better the entire league can become. We're very community focused and community run, really. We have a bunch of different people doing everything from stats to testing to graphics. Oh my God. Yeah. Really community run here. So
far everything has been going well, but we can never have enough help.
Yeah, if we want to expand, if we want to make things better and look better and more be more enjoyable and just do more events and more for fun things, we'll need more help. So the more people that are watching us, the more help we'll get and the more fun you guys will have. So whenever our Twitter account goes up, make sure to follow it.
Yep.
With that being said, time for questions.
Let's do it.
Yep. All right. So I'll go ahead and just read some of the questions. So the first one that we have is from Xmat, and his question is the Tenkaichi Bowl going to work the same as in previous seasons, or do you have plans to make any changes to how it works, i.e. like will the gauntlet stay the same or the MVP tournament?
So we already addressed the gauntlet. There are going to be minor modifications to it, but we're not really changing the format of it in any way. It'll function the same as it did last season. The MVP tournament, we have no plans to change, so expect that to be the same too. The actual Tenkaichi Bowl, we do have one thing we're planning to change with it. Normally, every playoff match, teams have 2 chances to post builds. They post builds for their first match, and then they post builds for their last 2 matches, so they have a bit more strategy involved, right? The Tenkaichi Bowl hasn't worked like that in previous seasons, and we want to change that, and we want to provide the same sort of opportunity to the Tenkaichi Bowl finalists. So we're set on giving them that same option. We're not 100% set on the exact format we're going to use. One of our thoughts right now is doing it in 2 weeks, doing the first match or the first part of the Tenkaichi Bowl 1 week and then finishing it up as the actual final Tenkaichi Bowl stream at the second week. Specifics for that will get cemented more as we go along and we discuss this a bit more. But yeah, there is plans to expand the Tenkaichi Bowl and provide that same level of strategy that the regular playoff matches get. Anybody else got anything else to add, or should we move on?
I think that answers it.
Pretty much it, yeah. All right, the next question is from Enemy Controller, and his question is, will some of the characters not really doing well on this difficulty for different teams? What do you guys have planned to help these characters to like balance them out with the rest of the characters in the league?
If I can jump in real quick, the first knee-jerk reaction I have to this is it just hasn't been long enough. with the new teams and stuff. I think the most perfect example I could ever give is Sin Shenron. The first, what was it, like 5 weeks of the season? Worst character in the league or something, and now he's like, what, an average 40 plus K every week?
49K right now is his average.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's a monster.
And that was a character that everybody, and I mean like everybody, was agreeing was just not good at the beginning of the season. And so I feel like this question, you know, some characters have done poorly in the past, and that makes sense. Like Jiro, he's been consistently not great for many seasons, so that would take precedent. But I don't know, I still think it's a little too early for some of these characters.
Yeah, I think another really good example is actually Majin Vegeta. Not to the same extreme, but at the first half of the season, he was a monster,
80K.
averaging 80K, and he was getting a lot of 80K performances. But actually, after the All-Star break, he's had 3 weeks that he's been in, and he hasn't averaged above, I think, like 42, 45. 45 was his best. The other were sub 40 performances. It's very clear that 15 weeks even, and right now we're not even through the full 15 weeks, but 15 weeks isn't a lot. It's a small sample size versus the amount of testing teams actually do and the amount of testing that needs to be done to actually show a consistent pattern and trend for any character. And that's not even to mention all the outside factors of builds, opponents, AI Pataras, and just sometimes general RNG. Like you get into a beam clash that's completely even on both sides, that's RNG 100%. So things like that can affect if a character is doing well or doing bad. And this small sample size that is the main season, it might be a decent way for us to recognize that a character could need looking into, but it's never enough for us to say, oh yeah, that character is bad, that character is OP, this character needs a nerf, this character needs a buff. And most, it's a guide to say, maybe you should look at this character and investigate if anything needs to be done with them. And the answer might be no. So that's always the first step. If there's anything that seems off in a season, we got to look at the context first. Why is that? Why is that team having issues? Why is that character having issues? And then we look in and say, okay, with all that in mind and with some testing done, do they actually need help? Chances are they might not. Chances are they might. We'll see. But that's always the first step, to check and not rushing into anything. And then
sorry, I was going to say, I would say the first characters we would potentially look at for this that are doing bad are characters that have weaker negatives, like characters with defense negatives or like stuff like that. It's like that could be an explanation. I think that deserves a little bit more time than characters that are just like derping in quotes, because it's like if this character has a negative, defense negative, whatever, or it doesn't do much attack and he sucks, well, you know, there's your answer. Like,
right, it's a lot easier to pinpoint that.
Yeah.
Like Janemba is a great example of the reverse of this. In terms of stats, he's a monster. He's on par with Super Boo and Ultimate Gohan. His B2s do a lot of damage. His melee does a lot of damage. He's got average stats and defense. He's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with him in those regards. He didn't get picked up this season. He got dropped because his AI was derping. That does not mean he's a bad character inherently. More testing could yield better results for him.
And that's not always something that we can fix.
Yeah. And again, Sin Shenron is a great example. Even in previous seasons when he was picked as an FA, he showed really crappy tendencies. He wasn't used well. And this season, GT spent like 100 tests and now he's working.
I think also it matters, like you have to figure out what a balanced league actually looks like and how quote unquote balanced you want each team to be.
Yeah. A good point here is it's okay for some characters to be weak. Right? Like we don't want every team to be exactly the same and do the exact same moves and have the exact same stats. That's not fun. It's okay to have weaker teams. It's okay to have weaker characters, and it's okay to have stronger characters. Obviously, we don't want extremes. We don't want how Hercule used to be, where he can even stun people. That's no fun for anyone. But it's okay if a character isn't the best and is even subpar, as long as it's not extreme. If a character, for some reason, does show a need for any changes, it's going to require a ton of testing on probably all of their AIs or most of their AIs. And we're going to have to go through a bunch of different builds to make sure we're not missing something with that character before determining, we need to change something. This character needs help. So that's a very long process, which means we probably won't get a lot of that done in terms of the amount of characters we test in that regard. So we'll have to be choosy and we'll have to be picky, and there's going to be a priority list with it.
All right. Any other thoughts?
That's it for me.
Yep.
All right. Still from Enemy, he has a few questions. The next one is he saw that on the league suggestions that we were planning on to add more than just Saiyans/humans. And would that be something that we would what you guys look into, or do you guys think that it'll make hybrids too strong of a team?
So
this is in reference specifically to hybrids?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Since they only have human Saiyans and everything like that, they're kind of locked into their master list. Especially since
kids.
like Rugrats and GT, they probably won't drop anyone that they can use.
So what I'll say with this is the suggestion has been made, and that's more of an off-season discussion for us. Chances are we won't make huge changes to master lists, and this is a rather big one because it's basically changing the base rule for how the master list functions. That doesn't mean it's out of the question, but larger changes like that are less likely just because there's usually a lot of consequences that come along with them. The hybrids are a strong team as is. There's nothing wrong with them currently. They do have a small master list, but it is not 100% locked in. There are ways to change it, and one of those ways is something that we're working on making more prominent in trading, right?
Mm.
Rugrats and GT have the other options for this team, but that does not mean that they cannot find a way to make a trade for any of those characters. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if GT wants to trade Pan at some point, but that's up to them. So they have options. While not a lot, admittedly, they are there. So personally, I think it's not a high priority thing to make a change to them. If it feels like in future seasons, hybrids are feeling stagnant, they're having issues, maybe it becomes more of a priority. But right now, it's not the worst thing in the world. I'd be more, if I was on hybrids, I'd be more inclined to look at what we do with trading and how that opens up options for you guys in the future, which we'll talk about later.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, go ahead.
No, I said all right. Yeah, good.
Okay. All right. So our next question, still from him. So, what do you guys think of making the characters that are banned/unusable for the league to mod in different characters to help out, like Rugrats, that are pretty much roster locked and only get characters via probably an unfair trade or unlikely drop? That kind of gets back into what we were talking about earlier with mods. Like, we'll probably really have to look into that to make sure that they don't break the game, right? Or the balance of the league, whatever. So,
yeah, we wouldn't mind giving teams more options and making characters that we literally never see in anything usable. But as Tosh said, a lot of modding, a lot of testing, so much testing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, 'cause- I was going to just say, like, when you look at some of those videos, because I know, like, myself and I know G has been, like, looking at different mods, and some of those mods are very crazy in terms of how they do, like, the certain B2s or whatever, the damage and everything, and that's just a lot that we will have to really look into.
Yeah. I've said this a million times, but there's going to be a priority list for who needs the most help, what sort of changes we need done first, and even before then, what changes should we do first, right? We could theoretically, we could mod in like 5 different characters. But would that break the league? Would that make certain teams overpowered? Would that be unfair to other teams? Those are all questions we need to answer first. And if the answer is yes to any of them, really, it's probably a no to actually doing it. In terms of actually modding, it's absolutely doable. It's something we're looking into. But in terms of doing it safely and doing it properly, it'll take so much time that don't expect a lot. There's a lot of groundwork that needs to be done first.
And I just want to add on to that. I think the heart of the question is, will you add characters to help teams? I would say yes. We are going to prioritize characters that would actively broaden master lists, and I would say personally to multiple master lists. Maybe with a team that is super restricted, like Sentai, we might throw them a bone, but like for the most part, we're not going to add in a character probably that is only fits onto this one team.
Yeah.
Or add a character like Beerus that doesn't fit onto any team.
I mean, Cinema technically grabs Beerus.
But once again, that's a one character team.
Yeah. So, yeah, exclusives aren't super fun most of the time because it's a less dynamic option. There's no contention for it. There's no possibility for that character being dropped. There's no possibility for a trade being done. It's not as fun for the league. And it also provides less flexibility in case we need to modify the league afterwards. So yeah, that's part of our determining our priority list and how we handle things and what sort of mods and changes and characters get introduced, if any.
Okay. Lloyd, do you have anything to add, or are you good?
I'm good.
Okay. Next question. Would you ever consider also changing the Kai formatting so it balances out even divisions? So like the 4 going into North Kai next year, have them top of one of each Kai, then fill it out, or do you think that the current setup is fine? So right now, personally, I'll say for me, I think it's fine. How we have the division set up and everything, and I feel like that would kind of be unfair to the top 4 teams to kind of put them at the top of each Kai, considering North Kai is supposed to be like the best of the best. But that's my view on it. I could be reading this wrong, but what do you guys think?
I kind of understand where this is coming from. I think the idea behind it is if the best teams go at the top of separate Kais, then they're not having to fight the best teams in their own Kai next season. So they have it easier next season as a reward for doing so well the previous one.
Right.
I understand that, but then that also sort of breaks its own logic because oh no, I kind of get where it's going. I understand it to some degree, but we also have our playoffs sort of set up with our current Kai format in mind. So that would need to be reworked as well, which would cause more. That's a whole other discussion.
I think the idea behind that suggestion is really good because it does reward teams for doing well. But I think it might reward them too much because obviously teams change from season to season. But in theory, that would mean that the same 4 teams would get bye weeks every single season.
That's also very true, which could lead to stagnation. But There's also the thing with teams change a lot every season.
They do.
Like a whole ton. Personally, from my experience when I was on Sands, we went from being a West Kai team to a South Kai team to a West Kai team to a North Kai team to a West Kai team. Now, that's a lot of West Kai, I understand. But the point is, there was no back-to-back seasons in the same division.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen that often for most teams, where you're stuck in the same division over and over because you have the exact same performance over and over. There's a lot of RNG in the league. 15 weeks is, again, a small sample size. So even just 2 matches changing and you getting 2 more wins or 2 more losses throws you in a completely different division. Which means there's always something new and you're not always... I don't think there'll ever be a way to have balanced Kais, is basically the point here. And not based off of previous season, because there's so much that changes in the off season that it just doesn't happen. So far, currently, North Kai is meant as like a bragging right. Like, haha, I made it into North Kai, the best Kai. I'm the best. I personally like
that's
that.
not true. West Kai, best Kai, actually.
This season is special. We had to randomize some stuff because a lot of teams didn't exist before. But yeah, I'm personally still happy with how it currently works. There hasn't really been a lot of issues in the past, and I don't see a huge incentive to change it. Is the big thing.
Okay. Any more thoughts about that before we dive into his last question? Well, will coaches get a different color like the commentators?
Not my choice.
I don't mind.
More importantly,
not actually a staff decision. But...
More importantly, when am I going to be able to get rid of this hideous green color? Jeez.
Well, you can get rid of it today.
And get the light blue like me and Tosh.
Shut up.
The big, I mean, that's like totally a meme, but the biggest thing that like actually is a concern is we're running out of colors, unique colors, and it's true because we've used
just make
purple.
More colors, man.
Oh yeah, just think of a new color. What am I thinking? But yeah, because if then that would also imply that every other league that's currently in the Discord server would also get their own coach color.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
that's more of a server thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah, for anybody who is not aware, who's not in the Discord, our Discord is a shared Discord. It's a CPU league server Discord that we share with Smash League and JFL League, Jump Force League. So if anybody's interested in those 2 leagues, check them out too. They're pretty fun and they go do their thing every year as well. All right, next question.
But yeah, all right. Next question is from Snuffy. So as a more general version of Enemy's question, how / to what extent does staff plan on testing characters to determine who needs buffs? Like Bojack has had a fairly weak season, even excluding the closing performances. But my first instinct is that he's probably fine where he is. In other words, how much does staff plan to factor in season stats versus their own testing into deciding on who needs buffs?
Right. So we've sort of addressed this already. A season worth of stats can be an indicator to look at a character, but nothing more than that. Like, maybe, okay, this character did 15K throughout the entire season, was in all 12 weeks out because he's benched the other 3, and never went over 30K. Let's take a quick look. First, we'd probably look at like, okay, what sort of performances specific he has? What was the context of a lot of those? Did he have a lot of cleanup duty? Right, we need the context of why he got the stats he did, and then we're gonna look at the actual character and what's his melee damage, what's his B2s, B1s, what sort of kit does he have? Is it weak by any means? Is there maybe a kit issue involved here? And we'll work off of that. if every step we take that is just a preliminary look, all that stuff's very preliminary. It won't take a ton of time to do before we even get into testing. If all that stuff keeps making us think, yes, this character has some fault, yes, this character has an issue, then we'll test, and we'll test rigorously, and we'll test multiple AIs, multiple builds, and we'll see, does this character really have no way to function well in the league? And that'll take forever, I promise.
Yeah.
It'll be a lot of work, is more so what I mean. We'll get it done, but yeah. Usually characters like Bojack, we're not gonna. He's been fine in previous seasons. There's not a real big precedent for him, so we're not gonna look at a character like that. I can tell you that, right?
Yeah, no.
And then I would say specifically, we might determine that a character is just without fault doing bad, but I am hesitant to boost damage on characters like, for example, Janemba, where he is stats-wise a great character, but dumb as hell. I am super hesitant to make him, like, I don't know, do more B2 damage or something crazy like that, because then, all of a sudden he starts working, and then it's, oh god, he's overpowered, and oh Jesus, he's banned again. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
In some cases, we might determine we cannot realistically buff this character without completely crazy turning the table on everything. So there might be a character like that, but I honestly think that 90% of the characters, it's either their base stats are just god awful, or they just aren't doing what you want them to do on that AI, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's some like really crappy kits out there. Like, again, a very good example is Jiro. He's got a shit kit. There's no arguing it. Bad charge rate, bad B2, and that kind of ruins a lot of his core functionality. The rest of his kit is fine, but it's average at best. He'll probably get looked at. We're going to have to go through every step with him too. A character like Janemba. If we look at a character like Janemba and we can't find a specific reason for why he's bad, and we're just fucking throwing darts at a wall in terms of buffing to figure out what might make him work, that's not a good thought process. That's not a good way to handle it. Like, if we don't know what to buff, then there's a bigger issue in hand there, and buffing him probably isn't a solution. Yeah. A character that has a more obvious weakness is a lot easier to handle, and those are probably more common anyway.
Okay. All right. Any final remarks? No?
Nope.
All right. Next question is from Phil. How annoying is it to have people constantly asking for buffs and nerfs? Not particularly annoying, I feel like, in my opinion.
I mean, it feels like that's kind of part of our job to have people continuously.
Nobody said you can't get annoyed by your job.
That's true.
I mean, you're not
volunteer. This is volunteer work. I don't get paid for this. I just get the satisfaction of seeing the league run. But yeah, no, like it's not that annoying at all, really, because people are going to ask for different ideas, and most of the time, people are doing it with the intent of improving the league. They genuinely are suggesting stuff that they think will improve the league, and that's fine. And actually, I love that. I don't want there to be a silent league that refuses to give us feedback. Like, how are we supposed to improve otherwise? Obviously, I understand this is more of a joke question, and somewhat poking fun, but nonetheless, I appreciate people asking. There obviously is a limit to like how much we can do, but if people are asking for stuff that are absurd constantly and nonstop, that's probably on us to inform people, hey, this is our limits, this is what we're doing, this is how we handle it, so people know what to suggest, right?
Yeah.
So, when are we buffing base Gotenks?
Lloyd, how about this? How about we get rid of base Gotenks? I don't want him anymore. Anyway.
Oh, start base Gotenks and remove Trunks and Goten from your team? Yeah, sure.
Oh yeah, give him the hybrids. I'm sure they'll take him.
I'm sure they will.
All right. But
I will
wouldn't say
fight you.
I wouldn't say it's annoying per se. I would say that it does get somewhat just like exhausting when it's the common question where it's just like everybody keeps on asking about this one character and we're like, guys, I promise we'll get to it, but we'll just wait. And that's totally fine if you're asking about a new character, like putting in the suggestion survey and you say, hey, can you take a look at this character? Whatever. I'm saying when it's like in the general chat, like over and over, and I'm like, okay, guys, trust me, we are looking at it, but we can't give you an answer right now. And that kind of gets hard sometimes because if you feel bad because the team is truly like struggling with this character and I want to help, but I feel bad. And it's like, I cannot tell you something that you want to hear right now.
No, like we can't make promises for anything right now. We're in the middle of the season and we haven't even tested any potential changes to anything.
I don't think it would really be fair to even start looking at or start thinking about buffing characters in the middle of the season.
Oh, absolutely not. That's very inappropriate.
Shadow buff, shadow nerf.
Oh, totally. Like, unless it's an absurd situation where it's absolutely necessary, we're not going to make changes mid-season. Everyone knows that. The times where buff and nerf talk get tiresome in general chat is less like I don't actually mind seeing it because I know some people didn't see previous discussions. That's fine. And I know people have ideas they want to share. That's fine. That's why we have the suggestions chat where staff isn't super active in the suggestions chat. We do continuously look at the suggestions survey though, which is a very filtered way to look at to get your guys' suggestions. And usually you guys don't double up on any of them, which makes it easier. In general chat though, the only time I get tired with it is when I feel like it's getting on other people's nerves because they've heard it so much. Because from time to time, general chat can get a bit passionate, to put it lightly. I don't mind passion, but two supporters
there's a
arguing.
limit
Yeah,
to some extent.
there's two supporters arguing with each other about what buff and nerf should happen. Can go from a fun hypothetical discussion to what sometimes sounds like people arguing what should happen when neither of them can do anything about it. And then I don't know, it feels like they're not arguing to each other exactly anymore. That's the only time I worry about it. And that's more of I don't want general chat to become tough to talk to type in.
All right. Any other points? Anything?
Nope. Good.
All right. Next question is from Momiji Bot, or in this case, Donzo. What have been some of your favorite matches so far? I have 3, and 2 of them are kind of biased.
Oh, wow.
Of course, well, funny enough, I agree with Mal here. Bujins and versus Budokai, that was one of my favorites because that was very close. My other 2 were actually involving Rugrats. One of them was Week 9 versus Derp, only because Derp got their first win, even though it was against us. I was still happy regardless. But Gotenks did amazing, so I'm happy about that. And everything. Did 90K almost went elite for his first show, even though it wouldn't count it. And then the third one was actually last week versus Earth Defenders, Rugrats versus Earth Defenders, where Goten went elite. And I'm happy. So yeah, 3 of my favorite matches. There you go.
So for me, I'm not gonna lie, it is often tough to remember specific matches just because, of course, I'm in UK time and the stream is pretty early in the morning for me. So generally when I think about my favorite matches, it's generally pretty recent. If I think about it off the top of my head. So I'd say the Rugrats, of course, because I support the Rugrats, is narrow victory over the androids. I found that really fun to just squeak a victory against them.
Oh yeah, add that to as my fourth one. There you go.
All right. Jay, you got a favorite?
Yeah, I mean, I got two. Again, I kind of suffer from Lloyd syndrome where I don't remember matches because I watch every single one of them and I commentate on generally like probably a third of them.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden you try to think back and you're like, oh yeah, that would match. Anyways, the one that really stuck out to me was Bujin's Hybrids week 2. That was a crazy match if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
And then the second one was very recently, Earth Defenders versus GT, where Baby almost went elite. That was a crazy match to commentate, and I had a lot of
one
fun.
was fun. Yeah. I'm gonna throw a curveball to all of you. My favorite match is match 1 of the All-Star games. That thing was fucking hype.
Yeah.
That started off so goddamn fast. Holy shit. Those first 3 characters on both teams were like fucking full. They're giving 110% off the bat. It was crazy. Outside of that, though, for an actual match, I think it's probably that preseason match, Devilman alting Deborah at the end, because I just never really expected it. And it was the first big wow moment of the season.
That was what, like a 30K alt or whatever.
Yeah, it was crazy. That was the first time that I think I got like hyped up about the league to such an extent for this season. So I'll take that. Moving on.
Yep. All right. The next question is from Spoofy. What are the staff's current thoughts about how the league is going, or how the league is doing trades? Are there any plans to change how it was implemented going into the off season, or is this a low priority and most likely will face changes in the future seasons?
It will.
So that's the first part.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead. No, he has another question after that.
A separate question. Okay. We will probably make changes to trade, to trading. Trading last season was introduced at a very restricted level. We want to be safe with it because it's a very big mechanic that's never really been done in the league in any sort of capacity before, and we don't want things to break. It was very much a test last season. Several trades were suggested. A few of them were close, I believe, to getting done, but none of them actually went through, which tells us it might have been a bit too restricted, but that could also be a factor of new teams, new everything, new league, and people want to trade when they barely understand their league and their team to start. That all being said, we do plan to discuss trading. We do plan to make some change to it. What that'll be, no idea yet. But hopefully it should make trading more enjoyable and add a bit more spice to the off season for you guys and make it a more usable mechanic.
Okay. Anyone else?
No, I mean, trading is a weird thing because it implies that both sides want the trade, and I know at least a decent amount of coaches like the teams as they are, their team, and so they won't be willing to trade unless they get something back, and a majority of the time, you're not going to have an equal one-to-one trade because that's almost impossible, and it's kind of hard to say because some people value other things more than others, so it really just depends on how willing people are to trade and opening to the idea of the trading, because otherwise we can only do so much to encourage trades. At some point, it's just got to be like, do you even want to trade?
All right. So this kind of piggybacks off his first question. The other leagues on the server, so JFL, and I know JFL does it for sure, but I guess Super Smash Brothers does it as well, where they do a snake draft style for the off-season roster changes. So the lowest record team goes first, and while the highest record team goes last. Realistically speaking, do you think that we can switch to this style of trading?
There's other stuff we need to discuss first that'll affect our drop ad window. So this isn't a particularly high priority discussion at the moment, only because there's other stuff that we've already dedicated to discussing first. That being said, I think we talked about this in not this exact idea, but drafting before in some capacity in the previous Dragon Cast. And the general gist is currently drafting in Smash and JFL seems to be prioritized as a means of balance. It's a balancing mechanism that's supposed to help the league, help weaker teams get stronger characters to balance out from season to season. In Dragon Ball Z League, it's never really been that. It can help a team become stronger and more balanced, but it's not formatted to do that. A strong team can still get stronger from it. The way it's currently set up is more for entertainment and spontaneity and just kind of causing change. It's not a snake draft because it's not meant as a balancing mechanism as is, or not fully. Essentially, if we were to go to a snake draft, we'd need to agree that we want it to be a balancing mechanism, which is a big topic. Realistically, I doubt we'll do a change for this offseason. It seems like too big a change, and we have a lot of other stuff on our plate already. And the current draft system isn't really broken. The current ad drop system isn't broken. So while people have some complaints with it, it's functioned for numerous seasons just fine. So until we have more time to really focus on such a large change, it probably won't go through a rigorous discussion. We'll probably talk about it to some degree, but I doubt it'll be at the top of our list in any way. What do you guys think?
I pretty much agree. I don't really have much to kind of speak on this.
So I'm confused about what the snake style is. That meaning like redrafting teams every single season?
I think they mean whatever characters are not picked up. Basically, you know how we have our ad drop window? They just snake draft it from the weakest teams getting first pick.
Yeah, I mean, again, that it only affects so many teams when you do that. Because I mean, just for instance, Sentai, what are they going to do? Who are they going to pick up? Basically nobody. Who are they going to drop? Probably nobody. Like it.
Yeah, there's also that issue of we have a very different master list situation than the other leagues.
Yeah.
So it might not even be as useful for us.
All right. Sorry, I had to drop and come back in for a second. We good?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next question is from Donut. Who is the best character in the league, and why is it not 19? Why is it 19?
They misspelled Jiro. That's weird. You see, he has this magnificent mustache and long, beautiful mane with just the style of the manliest man in the world. Clearly, no one else can pull off such a fit, so it has to be Jiro.
I'm going to say 17 because he's the only character in that show that dresses normally, other than 18.
Does that count as normal? Man wears green knee-high socks over.
Okay, green knee-high socks over pants compared to a literal, like, alien being who's apparently always naked? Like...
Wait, who are you talking about? Wait, what?
Frieza. Well, yeah, okay, the fact that you didn't know who I was talking about is the point.
I still want to question your fashion sense here.
I think 18 dresses more normally than 17.
Okay,
yeah,
those two androids. But like, look at Goku. He wears orange gi all the time. Who does that?
Goku. The Z Fighters.
Listen, look at Super. What is it? Goten and Trunks. They change their outfits. I don't
Wear, like,
know who else does it.
Go then wear some like traditional garb, dude. I don't know
Yeah.
what's up with that.
Anyways,
Best character in the league.
Like, you don't like
I don't
Trunks' chest high jacket?
yeah, his fucking crop top jacket.
That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen, man.
He's wearing these weird like sweat things too. I don't know what they are. I guess they're pants, but
Yeah, everyone has such baggy pants in the show.
yeah, for no reason.
I have no idea.
I guess except for Vegeta, he wears like skin tight pants.
A unitard.
Anyways,
All right, we good?
yeah.
I mean,
All right.
if we look here at the statistics, I mean, you see, number one, it says Margin Vegeta, but he doesn't really count. That's just unfair. So number two, let's see, Goten of the
It's Goten, yeah.
Oh,
There you go, Lloyd.
Wow.
See, I like your thinking, Lloyd.
you like the Rugrats supporters thinking? What a surprise.
All right. But yeah, no, all good points from Lloyd. No one else. Anyways, next question is from Andy. So he was saying that he doesn't want to keep asking, what do you guys think about doing next season? But it's all he has on his mind right now, so he'll just ask. So what are the changes that we're thinking about doing next season? In particular, anything that is concrete that we're willing to disclose at this time?
We just
And he understands it. Yeah, so we pretty much gave an overview early on.
We gave an overview. It will be posted up on the Discord.
In the public staff chat, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yes, I believe we're putting it up there probably before this video goes up, actually.
Yeah.
Probably? Probably. So look out for that. And in general, though, here's the thing. We'll tell you guys what we're going to do when we've decided we're going to do it, right? Like, there's no reason for us to keep a secret on a change, because it would actually make it hard to implement the change. Imagine if we told a team, oh yeah, your roster is different, and they keep posting lineups with their old roster. Won't work very well. But yeah, so if there's something we've decided to make a change to, we'll already have told you. The write-up we did isn't even changes. It's stuff we plan to talk about and plan to consider. And that's for the off season. For the main season, just look out for more Dragon Casts. That's really it. We kind of mention everything at the start of these. We make announcements in the Discord whenever we've decided on a change here or there. I don't mind the question. Just we're kind of already being as open as we can.
All right. So the next question is from Dorgard. So in terms of modding, from being a tester who worked with the league to decide characters for the new season, how will we work to test new B1s and character changes? Like, are there damage parameters?
I'm a little confused what the exact question is.
Yeah.
I guess, how are we planning to test the new B1s if implemented? Which I think is just trial and error.
Yeah, because I know there was talk in like the modding chat about new B1s and everything like that for certain characters.
That is probably not going to happen at all. Like, for this upcoming off season, that is really low priority. We have modding itself, just getting the foundation for that set up and how we want to handle it is going to take a long time for us. And I doubt we're going to get a lot of mods done. New B1s, new Pataras, anything like that is auxiliary. They're additional stuff, but they're not necessary stuff. They're not stuff that fixes problems. They're stuff that might be like, they're additions. They might improve the league. They might not. We're not 100% sure. But we need to fix what's there already, and we need to learn how to mod properly and how to implement mods accordingly. So chances are we're not going to touch this off season. There might be some minor discussions we'll have here and there. We're always looking. We did see the talk about B1 mods, but yeah, just I wouldn't expect a change with any new B1s this coming up.
This upcoming season. Yeah,
it's just not likely.
And if we were to extrapolate that to just saying, how do we test any changes? Like, how do we make sure we're not over buffing a character or something? We just run tests like a million times over and kind of look at the averages probably and go from there. I don't think we have a set like parameter, like if he hits this much damage, like out.
No, because like every character is different and every situation is different, so we have to just view everything independently in its own context, and then we discuss amongst all of us and make sure we're comfortable with it. Do you guys mind if I talk about the Majin Vegeta testing we did?
Go ahead.
Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, because like that was around 50 tests that we did for that one character in 5v5 and 4v4 settings against a variety of different teams, and some teams multiple times to make sure we're getting consistent information off of it. We did that again around 50 times and got a ridiculous win rate to the point where we were certain, and not just a win rate, but we also made sure that the wins were by a high margin. So we made sure that our decision to move Majin Vegeta to a new team was the right one, right? Like from the outset, you looked at the initial team and it's like, yeah, no, that doesn't look right. And most of people call us out on that fairly. But we still have to test it. And we have to make sure that whatever the situation is, we get whatever data we can, and then we just kind of have to discuss it. If we're buffing a character's B2s, say we buff a character's B2 to do more damage, and then we do tests afterwards, and they're like, oh wow, this character's winning 20% more. And then we look at how that character's winning, and he's tossing out half as many B2s. It's like, well, it's clearly not the B2 that's doing it. There's no way it's the B2 if he's barely hitting with it. Something else happened, or maybe that's just we haven't done enough tests to set a proper baseline. Like we need to look at the context for every character, and it'll be different for every character essentially, in every situation. So yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts before we move on? We got 2 more questions left.
Whoa.
All right. Next question is from Buzz. Have you accepted Pumpkin Pilaf as your Lord and Savior?
We need to get a Jack-o'-lantern Pilaf skin for next season.
Pilaf, man. Okay, can we just, it's for a second, also talk about him in the same category as Sin Shenron on the who turned around their season?
Not as crazy, but still impressive.
Yeah,
Listen,
I mean,
he's been doing better than freaking Majin Vegeta, who's been pulling off. Who's kind of dropped off a little bit.
Yeah, he's a near 40k character. He's 38.9k average right now.
Yeah,
that's
for
impressive.
A Dragon Ball character that
I know. The main thing is his clashing. He's won 12 out of 16 clashes right now.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is a big part of why he's doing so well, because he does that and then he hits with his B2s at a decent rate and they do good damage. They built him right. They never take.
I didn't expect him to be this good.
No, I don't think many people did. I'm pretty sure they were trying to sell him off in the off season.
Hey, now they actually have a bargaining chip.
It's true. They could bargain him off to, I think, Kaiju.
Yeah, Kaiju. Freaking what is it, King Vegeta?
He wants anybody from that team.
Or Scatter. Scatter's actually more likely now than King Vegeta, considering their performances.
Probably.
But Derp might actually want Pilaf.
Probably. No, wouldn't be surprised.
Mm-hmm. Don't know who they get.
Mm-hmm. The champ. He's the royalty of Budokai tournament.
I don't think they want to give that one out. Oh, no. But yeah, anyway.
All right. Last question of this cast is from Fiora. Will FA testing be allowed for next season, off season? If so, when will it be available? And when everyone's FAs have been decided? Oh, sorry. If so, when it will be available, and yeah.
Um,
Because I think we did allow it for this off season technically, but we weren't using free
yeah, we
agents.
weren't using them, so that's kind of why. We plan to bring back FA testing. It's part of our plan. We're going to discuss it and make sure everything's okay and where it's safe to do so. But we plan to bring them back. So it's going to follow the same rules as it has previous seasons, where FA testing won't be allowed until after FAs are picked. So the only FAs you will be allowed to test are ones that you can pick up on your master list. So Spopovic can be tested by Budokai, by Muscle, and by Bujins. But they can't be tested by any other team unless, say, Cold Kingdom picks up Spopovic during FA bidding. Then, obviously, it's on your team, test away. So that's how that works. You'll just have to wait until then. So it'll be a bit into the off season, essentially. You'll have to probably wait a month or two.
And we probably should say the characters that are currently FA locked, probably have to relook at that because you can't test if they're FA locked, even if they might fit your master list.
Yeah, if they're FA locked, they're technically not on your master list, so you can't test them.
Right.
So I just no Tavion, no Gohan.
Yeah, once you pick them up, they're free game, obviously, but not before. So
all right, and that is all the questions for today.
Awesome. Again, for anybody who's watching and who's not on our Discord, if you have any questions, if you have any feedback for the league, for us, for anything you want to change, again, we're all staff members here. We're just missing Mal, who's busy today. So if you want to suggest some feedback, this is the place to do it, in the comment section, in the Discord. Make sure you join it. We've got a bunch of stuff in there for you. And if you haven't subscribed, do that too, because we need all the subscribers we can get.
We appreciate all the support. Almost Absolutely. At 600.
The more of you there are, the almost 600 for like the last 2 weeks. But yeah, the more of you there are, the more subscribers we have, the more people watching, the more YouTube likes to play nice with us, and the more people find the league, support us, make it bigger, get more teams to have supporters, all that stuff. So make sure you do all that. Make sure you leave any comments you have. We seriously appreciate all of them. I personally read literally all of them. So and that is all I have, unless anybody else has any final message.
No, I already thanked them. Thank you again. Everything. So
Yep.
Thanks for watching.
Yep. Bye-bye, guys.
Adios. Bye.